Hey, horror fans, welcome back to Jay vs. Horror and another episode of Hardcore Horror Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about the 2017 film Torment, which is absolutely fucking insane. Wow, this one, guys, is off. It's off the map. Okay, Torment is loosely based or inspired, I guess, by the infamous serial killer John Wayne Gacy's story, and it stars Matteo Di Liberato, I mean, and Ricky Fiore, and I believe they are both first-time actors, and they are very good in this. There's no dialogue in the movie, but there is a lot of like screaming and grunting and crazy noises that seem to fill in for actual dialogue, and you might think that doesn't work, but it does. It actually does work in this film. So we start off. We see this guy wake up, Ricky Fiore's character, and it seems like maybe he's had a one night stand with this guy, and he doesn't really know him, and he's in his apartment now. And we see that he's kind of wakes up and he's going through the apartment and looking at different stuff and stealing stuff, drugs, money, whatever he can kind of find that's laying around while this guy's unconscious or knocked out, sleeping. And so we're starting to wonder here a little bit. Like, this goes on for a little bit, and I heard a lot of crazy stuff about this movie before I saw it. So I'm wondering, where's the pop? When does the pop kick in? Because it's supposed to be extreme, right? And it's of course done by Unearthed Pictures, Stephen Bureau's production company that did the American Guinea Pig films, and so you're expecting like something severely disgusting to happen, and it does, because this guy discovers a back room where there is a victim tied up. It looks like somebody has gone to town on him with a drill or something. There's holes in him. He's all cut up. He's beat up. And while as soon as he notices this, he kind of has like a freeze moment where he has a little freak out. But then we see in the background that the guy has woken up and he has put on his clown makeup and mask, or wig, and he knocks the guy on the back of the head, and here we go. Because when he wakes up, he is bound, and he is in this back room with this other victim, and then we see that the clown he just goes to town on this other guy, and it works. I mean, it works in a way where I haven't really seen this in another film, where this guy is forced to watch what is happening to this victim, and knows that he's been brought here to replace that victim, because this guy's pretty near the end. I mean, he's pretty fucked up at this point, and so there's a large quantity of fear and terror in this film, especially in this scene, which goes on forever. Like you wonder, you think it's just going to be like this short scene where, we're indoctrinated to what's going on here. We're given the vibe of the film, right? No, it goes on and on and on. It is sheer torturous madness. Uh, and the film largely does consist of sexual assault, but there's other violent things in it too. And so what happens is, it's just basically a captor victim film, and we see this guy be broken. It's basically a film about how one person can break another person through torture and pain and abuse, and that's terrible, right? I don't know. Like, I read another review for this before I watched it, and somebody had commented on the review. It wasn't the reviewer. They had commented on the review that nobody should watch this film unless they're gay. I think that's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. I mean, like, what makes you think that gay people want to watch? If I'm a homosexual man, that doesn't mean I want to watch somebody be sexually assaulted. That, what the hell? And it also made me, I'm trying to be nicer in my old age, but it made me want to comment on there that I guess it's fine to watch women be sexually assaulted, right? As long as if that makes you feel straight, it's okay to watch a woman be, horribly raped or something, which is just as disgusting. And there's no difference, rape isn't about that anyway. It's about, hurting someone. It's somebody who wants to hurt somebody else. It's not just about, sex or whatever. We hear this all the time. We watch these Dateline NBC stories about serial killers, or 48-hour mysteries about killers, and we always hear that the sexual assault part is not about actual sexual gratification. It's about hurting the other person and taking control over them and stuff like that. And that's what you get from this film. You really see that here, right? He is getting off from hurting these people, not from raping them. Uh, yeah, God, it's a rough film. I'll say that, and it doesn't get any better as it goes along. We see this guy just deteriorate into nothing, a shell of a human being basically. And I'll say this, guys, if you want to see how it ends, go check it out for yourself. I think there's value in this film. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna give it 7 out of 10, and I'm judging it by other shock films and other extreme films. So, judging it in that manner, I have to give it 7 out of 10. I think there's a lot of things in this that work. The performances are spot on, even though it's hard to watch, and there is no dialogue. It's still you get it. And as far as the John Wayne Gacy tie-in, look, I don't know how accurate this film is to what actually went down with Gacy. I would imagine that nobody truly actually knows what went down between him and his victims, but him and his victims and everybody in that situation is gone now. Gacy died; they're gone. The only thing that I would say is, like, I know some of the actions in this are some of the stuff Gacy did. Of course, we know he was a rapist, and we know that he liked younger men, 12 to 20 years old, because he had an advantage over them, a size advantage. Probably thought he had an intelligence advantage over them too. But he did do some of the stuff the clown does here, like choking people till they passed out and letting them wake back up. I don't know everything about John Wayne Gacy. I'm not like obsessed with serial killers, but I have seen a couple documentaries on it, here on YouTube and stuff like that. They don't really get into all the actions that he committed while he was doing the things he was doing, which I don't, they're real victims, so we don't really need to know. I mean, other than all we need to know is that he was sick and he killed people, right? And so yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder. Like, he had 33 young men in his crawl space when they caught him. They believe he killed many, many more before that. That they have no idea, where the bodies might be. But isn't it? It's just crazy that somebody could get away with that. You could kill 33 young men. I mean, 33 men go missing from the same area, and nobody puts this together until it takes them that long to put it together and figure this out. I mean, it's astounding to me. It's just like, well, basically what it is because some of these young men were homosexuals, some of them were runaways, and so they just kind of looked at them as, oh, well, nobody really cares. Well, that's ridiculous to treat a human being like nobody cares. I mean, the same thing went on with the Green River Killer, Gary Ridgway, killed like 30 or 40 prostitutes in, I think it was Washington State. I'm not 100% sure, maybe Oregon or something like that. But like I said, this is another one of those cases where I don't know everything about it, but I have seen a couple documentaries, and he killed prostitutes, and because they were prostitutes, it didn't seem like anybody cared. And when they did start trying to catch him, actually, they were really dumb about everything they did. I mean, if a guy is consistently dumping bodies in the same area, how does he get to like 30 or 40 murders without being caught? I mean, seriously, I don't know. The 80s, right? That's probably why we don't hear as much about serial killers anymore. I'm sure there's still quite a few out there, but we don't hear as much about them anymore because, there's cameras on every intersection. There's eyes in the sky. They have DNA testing. It's very hard to get away with something like this these days. And, I used to say, or I have said in the past, if you murdered someone before 1989 and you got caught, you're a fucking moron. Because all you had to do was not get seen doing it. If you weren't seen doing it, if you didn't have the weapon or whatever it was, then they couldn't catch you. Now it's, you have to be a fucking criminal mastermind to get away with it. And so I think that's maybe why, like, we've seen maybe like the mass shooter replace the serial killer as far as people doing these atrocious acts to try to get famous. And then, of course, the media does give them exactly what they want. Instead of, blocking their face out, blocking their name out and saying that a person did something horrible, we're not going to talk about who they were. We're going to talk about the victims. No, they will put pictures of these people on Nancy Grace and CNN and whatever. They'll show them 24 hours a day for 3 weeks to make sure everyone knows exactly what their motivations were, what kind of, who cares why do people care why stupid people do stupid shit? When you do that, all you're doing is giving this person what they wanted in the first place. That's why they went and did this. They wanted to be famous. They had no other method of doing it because they were, a person that was less intelligent than everybody else, or a person that was less uh, spectacular or talented or whatever you want to call it than anybody else. So they have no way of getting attention other than going and doing something horrific, and then you validate that by showing them a picture on the news for 3 weeks. Uh, so yeah, guys, if you got a little off topic there, but you can see that watching this film will evoke some thoughts maybe you haven't had before, and maybe some emotions too. Uh, it's a horrific movie. It's, I want to say disgusting, but it's hard to call it disgusting when it actually happened to people, or some of it actually happened to people. Because are the acts disgusting? Yes, but I don't like to talk about. It's a rough one because there were actual victims. They don't talk about the actual victims of this, and that's smart. That's pretty much how they do with all these films. If they're gonna talk about the actual victims, then it's gonna be more of a procedural movie. It's not gonna be an extreme shock film because they're not gonna degrade the victims or show that kind of atrocity. Uh, but this film goes there. You know, we never get the name of this clown. We're just told that it's inspired by John Wayne Gacy. All that is smart because otherwise you can't do this film, right? Uh, but guys, that's all we got for today. Go check out Torment from 2017. Look, it's a hard to watch film. I wouldn't blame you if you fast forwarded through some of it. That's acceptable. I did not fast forward through it, but I was sitting here playing NBA 2K. It kind of like gives me something where if I don't want to watch someone be raped for 5 or 10, 15 minutes at a time, I can look away, and I don't have to necessarily focus on that moment, because some of it seems like overkill. Some of it, yeah, there's acting in it actually, but some of it just seems like overkill, and it looks fake, and it looks, it's not the greatest effects or anything like that. I mean, thank God, right? But yeah, check it out. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 based on other shock extreme films that we've talked about on this channel. And next time, guys, we're going to be talking about the American Guinea Pig series. We're going to knock out all 4 films at once. Bouquet of Blood and Guts. And then we move on to Bloodshock. And then Song of Solomon. And finally, Sacrifice. I have to rewatch Sacrifice. I watched it once about a year ago, I think, and I fell asleep while I was watching it. So I don't really remember all of that one specifically. I'm going to rerun through all of them. Usually they're like an hour long or something. So I might even be able to knock this out later today if I can get caught up on watching all those. Have to do the rewatches and then finish Sacrifice. But yeah, guys, that's it. And we will talk to you the next time we've got something worth talking about. Bye.